record this. Thank you. All right, so my Brady Bunch look out here again. I can see everybody. You already know about this articulation that's been worked out with Media Arts Production, Tri-County Tech, and Anderson University. We will now be sending students there to get their four-year degree. And at this moment, we are aware of 4 or 5 that are planning to attend in fall of 22. So that'll double the number of people, according to our statistics, that leave our program and go to pursue a number. It's usually 2 to 4 a year that go on to college. This will be 4 or 5.
I think we have 2 next semester, John. Aren't Gail and Jed going next?
Yeah, they're
semester?
going on. They're going next semester.
Yeah, they're going. So even just the very first semester available, we've got 2 people.
So that'll be 6 people total over there, and that's fantastic. And again, Anderson University is not inexpensive, but by going to Tri-County Tech for 2 years, you cut the cost of going to Anderson University to a fraction of what other people are paying. And I've said this before. I wonder what people who are starting there are going to say when they find out. They could have come here 2 years and then gone there and saved a lot of money. We might get a few folks because of that. We are working with other colleges to make it easier to transfer. We have made changes to names and descriptions of some of our courses. Colleges seem to really like the ARV visual arts courses. And so we changed some of those to ARV prefixes and names. I think the map prefix will catch on. I'm starting to see it in other places, but talk about that later. But we now have an agreement with Lander University that is, it's not quite finished, but Corey Carpenter and I have submitted an agreement. We tweaked it a little bit. His boss has got to approve it, then we'll send it up chain here. And it's all but done. They're pretty much going to be able to do the same thing, finish up with us and go to Lander. And we already have a student there without that agreement. So it'll be good. I also did not know this. The folks at the Anderson Career Center for District 1 over in Williamston, they said most of the students who continue in media either come here or go there. So it'll be a nice thing for both of us. So they'll receive most, if not all. We were working on all. There was 1 or 2 classes, but I think it's going to be all of our media arts classes. And of course, the general ed classes that will be accepted by Lander once it's approved. And I'm working with Corey Carpenter, the professor of digital media and Lux Studio manager. He was going to be here this morning, but he is not. Beneficial relationship for our graduates, obviously, for both colleges, the media industry, because we do not have a small media industry in our region. We're not a small market in legacy media. And now that everybody needs us, everybody, it's one reason Susan Anderson is here, because what, 15, 20 years ago, we wouldn't have invited an organization like Anderson Interfaith Ministries because they didn't have a media presence. Now they do. And Bigger Brains wouldn't have existed probably when I came here in 2002, because there was really no need for it. But now there's a great need for what we do across the board, in addition to the legacy media. So yesterday evening, Corey Carpenter, Winston Seeley, and I presented did a talk for the College Broadcasters Incorporated National Student Electronic Media Conference. Just calling it National Student Electronic Media Conference is showing that even organizations that are based in legacy media are understanding the changes that are continuing. You know, all my life I've heard change is coming to media. No, change has never stopped. It's continuing. It will always continue. There'll always be change. And I'm just gonna give you a brief view of what we talked about. I'm not going to talk a lot about what Winston talked about because he's not here and Corey was supposed to be. But the idea was, as three of us talked, we wanted to make it an easier transition from high school to college, 2-year college to 4-year college, and knock down some of the walls that have been put there traditionally. And the COVID pandemic has made both 2-year and 4-year colleges realize, well, and it's not just us, we need to cooperate more because, well, I heard on NPR just the other day that community colleges, 2-year colleges nationwide have seen a 21% decrease, and it's not getting much better a year later. So we need the career centers. And the 4-year colleges are also suffering a similar problem, and they need us. So of course it's for student success, but we can now customize an educational experience for anyone. You know, not everybody needs a 4-year degree. Not everybody needs the full 2-year degree, but everybody needs something. So we have our certificates, we have the 2-year degree, and now we have an easy access to a 4-year degree at 2 places. No, Dan, that's not a real bow tie. I can't tie a real bow tie. Those 3 of us who talked last night. I will mention that each year, less than 10% of our students at the high school level continue to study or pursue a career in media. I did not know it was that few. I knew it wasn't a whole lot. So I think there's still this idea that you can't make a good living in radio and TV. That's why we changed the name of our program several years ago. One of the reasons. And, you know, I was thinking, as mentioned last night in this talk, I used to have sometimes an argument with parents when we were radio and television. I mean, the parent would start raising their voices. I know they can't make a, and I'd say, no, they can. I haven't had that discussion and or argument since we changed our name to Media Arts Production, because people can understand that because they're seeing and using media all over the place. Amy's gonna talk some about that in a little bit. Now, at the Career Center, they've put a lot of emphasis on filmmaking, and Winston has said they're starting to do more and more with social media because filmmaking is not a viable job in this part of the country. It used to be something people wanted to study a lot, but the skills needed for each medium are similar in so many ways. The media is going to change. The delivery is going to change. I was reading some articles yesterday about what local broadcasters are going to do for content. I understand Sinclair is already working on their own streaming network for their stations because, well, putting the antenna on the roof is not going to be enough for local stations to keep their viewers. So they're now beginning to do what the newspapers didn't do 30 years ago. They're trying to, some of them are trying to see how they can keep delivering their message. This is what I talked about. Today, any person, company, institution, nonprofit, new or traditional media needs the skills of media content creators. And we want our graduates to be able to create that content wherever it is needed. We want them to have diplomas, certificates, and degrees. They need to be successful. We want them to have options. And I mentioned our original mission, which is still our mission as a program in the technical college system, which is the mission of the technical college system is to give students access to the certificates and degrees they need and get a job. And I think that is still a strong, important mission. It should not go away. It shouldn't change to where we're sending everybody to 4-year colleges, because once again, I think we're starting to realize everybody doesn't need that. but it needs to be accessible to everybody. So we continue with the main, that being our main goal, because we do have good job placement with the 2-year degree. And that goes back to when this system was founded in 1962. And the university transfer system, of course, the university transfer program here has been very successful over the last 3 or 4 decades and before. And again, we just want to give them options. And we talked about some challenges. We do have to overcome the idea of tech school. Matter of fact, how many times those of us that work at TCTC have been at graduation and one of the board members gets up and says, you should be proud of going to a tech school. It's a technical college. We're a college. And there's that trade school bias that some 4-year colleges do have. And then it can also be reversed. We can be kind of snobbish ourselves because we know what we're doing and what others are not doing. Both we and the high schools were talking about how we making parents understand that this is a viable career option. And also, here's a problem that I run into with other institutions, 2 and 4-year, is figuring out what all the prefixes mean. We came up with MAP, we in Trident Tech, and I'm starting to see that in other places. I would like to think they found it with us looking around. They probably came up with it on their own independently. But Lander, their media classes are MEDA, and then, I found COM M, COM DM, digital media, COM Core from one college, and COM also means English at some colleges. So the negotiation and the communication with other colleges. There used to be only print, TV, and radio media, and now there's multimedia with very blurred lines between each platform and the skills needed. So I told them what we were actively doing, and all of you know this, having changed the name, making our general education requirements all college transfer. And I'm happy to report that changing the name and raising the standards did not hurt our enrollment, because before COVID, we were moving very, very fast and getting more and more students, and fewer of those students. It used to be almost everybody that came to us needed take the preliminary classes, the prep classes for math and English. It's the other way around now. Look, just a few people need those prep classes. Most people are ready for English 101. Most people are ready for Math 120. So that's been a big change in the students that we now attract. And we also offer them, in addition to the media arts production degree, the certificate in the area that they want to concentrate, into which they want to concentrate, so they can communicate across platforms. We have a TAP agreement with the high schools, the 2 career centers, where they can come here and get credit. I mentioned to Winston last night, that's been sadly underused. We've only had 1 or 2 in the last couple of years that have taken advantage of that, but it's been there for years. And poor Amanda Blanton worked her tail off to try to get these things set up for us. And, all we can do is offer it. And then Corey talked about his challenges and goals at his program. And since he's not here, I'm not going to go into great detail there on his, but he did know that he needed our students. And we've been talking about this for several years now, and it's about to come to pass. So any questions, comments? It was also an honor to be asked to speak at a conference like that. It's not often that we get asked to do that. I mean, we can apply to do it, but to be asked to speak, that happens all the time with 4-year institutions. But for us, it was a nice opportunity, and we got some really good feedback.
Very impressive, John.
Thank you, Amy. So social media. We have social media pieces to many of our MAP courses. And I'm gonna let Amy talk about that now, because this is what we're looking at now. Again, what's not going to change? Good writing, good lighting, good shooting, good graphics, the knowledge that's needed to keep up with these things. But what is going to change? Well, just yesterday, Facebook, with all the trouble they're in, did announce the coming of virtual reality as a viable platform, not just something that a few people play with. It's one of the next big things, which will be part of our entertainment, information, and social media experience. So, Amy?
Oh, yes. Well, I talked about this last time. I actually had a really good conversation with Lamons / Curtis about how they are doing deliverables. Because, when I first started working here, it was just, well, we did DVDs and, out for broadcast. And now there's so many different formats that the students need to know about. And it's, so I have already added a bunch in, but I'm continuing to do even more. So I've added a lot of social media to many of the courses that I teach specifically. It's changing constantly, and there's no real textbooks out there. I'm on several professional groups on the internet, social media professors and stuff like that, to see what textbooks or curriculum they use. There's not a lot out there, but so I kind of have to make it up myself. Our older video projects, where I used to just tell them I wanted it exported with this codec, I wanted it exported, at this pixel dimensions, I now make them exported in multiple different ways, like, square and vertical and horizontal video, so that they're used to that. Whereas I used to just say, export it. Yeah, I've created some worksheets because, like I said, there's no curriculum out there. So I made some worksheets.
The textbooks they do have are outdated. Seriously, they are outdated as soon as they're published.
So I created some projects, and I wanted them to think about it before they just started making them. So kind of made a worksheet, like, what's your client? Where is it going to go? What's their main goals? What hashtags can you use? What other links do you need to put? And make them do some pre-planning. But I had to make it up myself because there isn't anything. I have done several new projects that are strictly social media. So I've changed some of my old ones to add social media, and now I've created more that are just social media. This week I've attended Adobe Max, and one of the things I'm looking specifically for is stuff about social media. And John and I have discussed, should we have a standalone social media class and change one of ours? That's just early conversations, but.
So that's what we're looking at now. We've made so many changes in recent years, and now we're getting a good feel for it. A problem that we are facing now is getting people back after COVID. Our numbers are still better than they were when we made these changes, but it looks like we had a crash on paper because of COVID. We're not the only ones. We are working to do that. So anybody that wants to do this, or maybe you're acquainted with somebody who just didn't come back, tell them it's okay. We wash our hands. We are clean. We've been vaccinated.
Well, but John, does any of our members have any comments about social media and deliverables as kind of as the video person? Like John Burton, are you having to, is somebody else handling that for you, or do you have to deal with anything other than broadcast when you turn in your stuff? He went away.
He went away and he's muted.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't get the phone to unmute. Yeah, we have a whole team. Matter of fact, probably our biggest growth area in our station and in our company is social media.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that going on. I don't do it just because I've got other responsibilities with the Clemson show, so I don't get that much into it. I send stuff to them, and then they just put it through there. So we have to go through a chain. But there's a lot of it. And in particular now they're looking for people, reporters and producers and all that have that background. So that helps them quite a bit.
Yeah. Like I'm on
now-
a lot of the job boards so that I can tell the students. And it's all, I'm actually thinking, because we're old enough to remember when everyone wanted to hire their own computer programmer because there wasn't a lot of software. So you saw all these computer programmer jobs. Everybody would hire their own person. And I'm seeing that now, like instead of getting an agency, everybody wants their own social media manager. Like there are so many social media manager jobs. So that's one of the reasons I think that I've added it into the curriculum. But I mean, it's almost time for like Tri-County to think of an entire degree. Every single job says social media manager on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot with ours. And I mean, what I see in our company, people moving and things like that are toward the social media stuff. So, I mean, we're probably going to add 2 or 3 more people to our staff. We're kind of different than the other stations. I think some of the other stations like YFF, H&S laid people off during the pandemic, and now they're trying to scramble to hire people back. We didn't do that. We didn't have any layoffs in our building. So we're kind of ahead of that game. But I see that they're trying to get more and more people involved in social. And Nexstar has a huge digital message for all of us. I mean, there's a constant barrage of we're going to do this, we're going to try this, we're going to try this. So I mean, it's the hot place to go. It certainly is. And one of my questions I have, and you sort of kind of answered it, but are we doing any type of outreach programs to any of the local high schools as far as maybe how they can get involved, maybe how they can plant the seeds? In other words, with maybe a school maybe would like to get started in it, but doesn't know where. Has Tri-County reached out to them and said, hey, we can help you plant those seeds, we can help you get started, we can help you ramp up? Has any of that been talked about?
With media or social media?
With media and / social media, because I know that I use the example of the Fountain Inn High School here. They just opened this year, and they're setting up a TV broadcast kind of, it's not a curriculum, but it's it's TV in school, and how they're doing it and things like that. And it got me thinking, have we done anything to reach out to schools that maybe want to start or maybe want to refine their programs?
Well, I'm on the advising committee for both of the career centers in Anderson County. And I'm in touch with, a matter of fact, that the presentation last night for CVI included one of the fellow in charge of the still called radio and television program at Anderson Career and Technology Center. So yes, we are involved in that. And the wake-up call for me was him telling me only 10% of their students go on to pursue this. So I'm going to get more involved than ever and make it a priority to go and get to know more of these students and help them with their program. Here's something that I run into with high school. They have even when they do something like this, there's a different set of criteria the state has for them than they have for us. And sometimes it's hard for them to bend and be flexible than it is for us. So I want to work with them on some of that and what they need to do. And also I'm wondering if I should not, I've been working on this graphics degree, a potential graphics degree, and I've worked on it some lately, and I've got some things I'm getting ready to show, but I'm wondering if I should not revisit that and look at it as a social media degree, because graphics is such a big part of that anyway. Maybe I should look at that and see what other colleges are doing, because we're not the only ones asking these questions. Did that answer your question, John?
These 3 counties love career centers.
Sorry, I had to.
No,
Yeah, it does answer my question. And one of the other things too is, like in the freelance world and the wonderful world of freelancing, they are very much right now, and they're having problems filling jobs just for people that have the things that I hear most about are video jobs. In other words, video engineers or video folks that can paint cameras and things like that. And graphics is another thing they have a huge deficit in. And of course, they work with programs that are very closed off. With the Chiron's an old one, but Chiron type things that people aren't. The need is far outweighing the actual people that are out there that know it, and new people that can learn it, because ESPN has expanded it quite a bit. There's other things. You spoke of Sinclair. Part of Sinclair's deal that they're doing with their own app and all involves their Bally Sports, which they're going to try to make that an app. They're going to have to make that viable. That's going to open up a lot of new things. That's going to open up a lot of stuff they're going to have to fill for their 24 hours, or to have an app that's going to be viable that they want to charge $20 for. So, I mean, there's a lot for that in graphics, in kind of video, knowing how things work. So there's a little bit of that old school TV in there, but there's also a lot of the new stuff. I mean, the graphics would be great, especially if you can get folks involved and get them really steeped into the culture that they have, and learn as much as they can. Because it's more than just Photoshop out there now. I mean, there's more than just Photoshop and After Effects. There's a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah, what's the main broadcast machine now? It's not Chiron or Pinnacle. What is it?
It's not Chiron. I can't tell you because I haven't done it in so long.
No, I just know, like, you're up
stuff.
in the, like, during sports, live sports, you're up there. So I thought you might know.
Yeah, it's I don't know what they use in the trucks anymore, but that's something to look into. And it, like with Clemson and some of these other places, you've got USC upstate. They've got their like video department now set up. And so just all the colleges, I'm sure Lander will probably get there. Anderson probably will move more toward that as they get toward football and stuff. They're going to want to have a bigger presence. So we're feeding them. That's a great thing. That's going to be a great opportunity because they're going to expand on theirs. They have to.
Other comments and questions? Because I think I have more questions than I have when I started. That we've got to start doing research on, which is good. That's one thing, it keeps us going, keeps us fresh.
One of the things about the social media, John and Amy, since y'all were looking into this, is we got to keep in mind is teaching our students how to do the algorithms, because they change so often, and showing them like how to figure out the algorithms of social media so that their posts actually do show up when they do post. Because posting on Instagram or Facebook is fine and well, but if your stuff's not showing because it's not fitting the algorithms at the time, then their whole point, the whole point of posting is going to be pointless. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I know that before in my other company where we would do social media posts, we had to keep in mind the algorithms, because a lot of our employees were not seeing anything because we were posting certain things like win a prize or, something like that, where Facebook kind of frowns upon it. They weren't seeing it because Facebook algorithms wouldn't let it be shown. So just something to keep in mind while y'all were throwing the idea back and forth.
And the coming regulations also going to affect that.
Yeah, I know our place, they get our people all in the algorithms. You talk to any of those folks, they know, what they need to do. And also the other problem that we have, and I see this quite a bit, I see this on our site, we're certainly not immune to it, is just writing the correct, or writing content that is is useful for people, but also is well written. Sometimes we have some, if you go back and look at the posts, we have some just cringeworthy stuff. And it's just, you've got to have that. There's a certain formula you need to follow for the content. You need to make sure that our, students are ready for that, because it's more than just throwing something up on social media. And it's more than just putting, the world is going to be shocked on what Prince Harry did next. That it's just way more to that, and especially the news side, they need to make sure the content is well written and present it in a way that's easy for people to take. Because, I mean, people just go to the headline, they read the first paragraph, and they're done. But that's a click, and so that counts.
Yeah, exactly.
Chip?
Exactly.
Chip, you've been quiet.
Yes, I have. No, I mean, I agree with what everybody said. I was just thinking, I wonder how different it really is, thinking about the algorithms in social media is really not, it's the newest evolution of thinking about your audience, right? And thinking about how you tell the story and how you convey what it is you're putting in the video. It's just now there's some different metrics and there's some different things to think about in terms of, asking for likes and subscribes, formatting the video so that it gets maximum, people watch to the end, that sort of thing. It's a difference in tone, but I don't know if it's all that different from what we've done before. I'm not sure.
Susan, as a nonprofit, how have you noticed any of these issues? Anything else that we've talked about?
I just know that, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Just, trying to stay up with the social media, all this, your talk of algorithms. We've tried to partner with Smart Marketing here in Anderson just to do what she calls the kind of freaky kind of posting, just so we're paying for some Google ads, some things we've never done before, just because we've got to keep our presence out there. And it's been successful. We still keep, we're requiring new donors, and I'm going to be looking for somebody for videos again, John. I'm actually outsourcing with Jennifer Waters. Do you remember Jennifer? She's doing well. She's gone on to Lander. She's completing her degree there. Yep. And we missed her terribly because, she was a Vista with us.
Right.
And, I'm actually out, going to pay her to do another video because we've expanded our campus incredibly. We've had that COVID relief money. To date, we've dispersed $2.5 million to help folks with their utilities and rent. So it's just, we're exploding here. And so if y'all have any kids that are interested in our Vista program, we've also added a AmeriCorps program, which we're going to be hiring 10 AmeriCorps. And they do make considerably more money than the AmeriCorps Vistas. So if you have any kids interested, if they'll reach out to us, we've hired an actual director for that program. He's an AU grad. Super excited that y'all are partnering with them because they've been real helpful sending us the Vistas also. So any questions, y'all please reach out to me.
And those those are media jobs, or just you have 10 more that are
they're all over the campus, but we can place them in that. We probably wouldn't want but one media, to help us, but we would certainly, we've even got some housing, for the kids that it won't be ready right away, but one of the churches here in Anderson has donated a house to us. So we would be able to house. The only issue we're going to have is if it's going to be guys or girls. We're not wanting to mix them. So, but that will be another option for them too. So, a lot of things happening here.
Separated.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a different world. They feel differently about it, but it is a church that's donated the property.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
We want to be mindful of that. So we're excited.
Know your audience.
Yes. So y'all, thank y'all for letting me speak.
It's always good to hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't figure out how to get my my face on there. I turned it off the other day for something, and I guess I hadn't done a Zoom call in so long. But I don't know what I'm supposed to be clicking.
You click too much, you'll disappear. That's the part. So.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm here.
Let's now move to industry.
Let me ask you real quick for this. And there's two different styles to this analytic kind of analysis that you do. Isn't there one like for sales? Salespeople handle it different than I would think news or content creators would. I'm not sure how that works. I'm not smart enough to know that. I don't know if there's a difference in the way that a sales department would look at how many ads they have going as opposed to how many clicks you get for a news story. So I'm sure there's something that's different about those two things, and maybe those are two separate kind of elements.
know more about analytics than I've ever known so far, and it still bogs my mind. Things are changing so quickly. Amy's daughter just got a degree at USC, basically doing that sort of thing. Yeah, and maybe can you speak to that? Has Emma told you the answer to that question?
Yeah, she's data analytics for the sales, but she has to do the marketing part too. And for instance, like when she does the social media, but they're more LinkedIn and stuff like that because it's business to business sales. So the sales part is completely different. I think that's more what John has in his sales class that he does for our sales certificate in the summer is more what
it's just it's made to be kind of broad.
Yeah.
And they've changed it again. I've got to get on top of that again because they've drastically changed it because they're trying to serve everybody. And
well, no, and it changes constantly. Like I was saying, like my very first PowerPoint for editing, I added in all the different sizes of social media video, and it's changed and the semester's not even over. And I told them when I gave them all this, because they're all writing it down, and I said, you can't use these numbers without checking them because they change all the time. So this is the way it is today, but don't call up this PowerPoint in your job 3 years from now and look at what Amy told you. It will be different. So it's already changed and the semester's not even over.
The basics beyond algorithms change this constantly.
Yeah.
Even the size of the graphics. Lamont, Curtis, Seabrook, what you got for us? And TTI.
One thing has changed for us is another platform of deliverables. Since COVID has hit, more people are streaming stuff from like Netflix, Hulu, etc. And Hulu is, they started a program where they're allowing ads and ads from companies and stuff. So now we've adopted like deliverables for like streaming platforms such as Hulu and stuff. So
I have been surprised where I've seen local ads in some of these streaming services that you wouldn't see local ads a week ago. I mean, yeah.
And it's so now I guess it's just what we've been kind of learning and adapting to is just how to have our content or the videos that we produce go on multiple platforms instead of like, granted, it's a time and a place to create different types of videos for different types of like social platforms. Like
you're on top of this, aren't you? What you do?
With the deliverables, as far as like the marketing and stuff, we don't really handle that. But as far as like knowing what the companies are looking for or what the latest trends and resolution size or type videos that are currently trending in social in our market, we have to kind of study that and be kind of on top of like the latest trends and transitions and styles and videos and stuff like that.
And get you to come work with us with our students some and talk about that.
Okay.
I think that'd be a very good idea. I've heard from Aaron or Marie. Do you have anything to add in here?
I don't really have anything to add. I just want to say that I really appreciate everybody's efforts to kind of stay on top of things and keep everything that we're doing in media arts production relevant to what's going on in the rapidly changing job market. I've seen a lot of programs that just kind of didn't connect to what was actually happening in the world, and they got stagnant pretty fast. And just want to put it out there that I know this is a lot of work, and it's a lot of extra work on top of the work you already do to teach classes and run the department. And I just want to say that I appreciate the efforts of everybody here today and the engagement of everybody here today to keep us, on top of things and in the stream. That's all.
Thank you.
Agreed.
I can say without bragging that we are more up to date than almost, I can't think of another program that spends as much time on this, because I have to say to our administration, you've given us the freedom to and haven't put up a lot of roadblocks when there is a change that needs to be made. You've been very, very helpful. And when I talk to other institutions, they can't even agree on prefixes, or or the word digital, because saying digital now is like saying stereo. Of course, it's digital, but people who don't do this don't want to remove digital from the name. So we've been supported by you guys. Yeah, yeah, I'll remember that. Cara says, I'll remember that comment. I'll remember when budget time comes, is what I'll remember. I do want Cara and Dan to say a word. Cara is our financial guru. I didn't go to your meeting the other day because I was afraid you'd tell me that I had a budget cut. So
you're gonna let Cara talk? That's 30 minutes. She doesn't say one word.
Nope. 2 sentences. One, this was great, very informative, and I thank you. I think this is the first advisory board meeting that I've been invited to, and I was excited to come, and this is great. And I want to thank the people on the board for their time and their knowledge and helping us stay relevant. So thank you, Amy and John, for what you do. I mean, I'm excited about it. Of course, I am very passionate about what we do here. But the only thing I want to mention, and I don't think you mentioned this, John, and maybe I was a little distracted, but we have not only invested in staying relevant in the content of the program, but in our facilities. Yes. I mean, we have spent a lot of time and effort in upgrading the labs, and you can talk to that if you want to, John, but I do think that is important. We want our students to feel like when they're in our program that they're in an environment that is reflective of the environment that they're going to go work in. And sometimes we get a little behind on that, but we've really tried to focus on that. So John,
our classrooms are so nice now. We got carpet in mine. It's helped with the sound. We're working on the soundproofing and some of the audio studios. So yes, a lot of improvements, and they continue.
Well, and we have more equipment too than many of the 4 years. Because our students
more current equipment. Obviously.
Yeah, and our students can't afford it as much as, say, a Clemson student can afford to buy their own camera. So I'm glad we have it, or our students couldn't do anything. So, and that's because of administration helping us get that for them.
There are colleges
and some grants.
There are big colleges that don't have the equipment, and they just simply don't make the content they talk about it, which is important. I do not downplay the importance of going beyond what we do and getting deeper into it, because I'm a fan of that, but they need to know how to make the stuff too. Dan?
Yes, John.
Were you listening this past
I was, yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. And now you know kind of one of the things I do for the college, which is chase money.
Mm-hmm. Chase some more.
And then Cara won't let me spend it.
She'll let you spend it. You just gotta let her, make her figure out the reason to spend it.
I have to beg her for stuff. No, not really.
I bet she makes you beg, not the others.
Yeah. Well, I don't spend a lot. I don't need a lot. I'm here to help you.
That's the first time you've ever said that to me. In the
I know. Yeah, you got it recorded so you can play it back.
No, I do appreciate it. We've had a good relationship with. We have a great relationship with the current administration, and 98% good relationship in past. I don't mind talking bad about them. So.
This is Jackie. I just wanted to say I apologize. I asked Heidi, did you mention me earlier, and my volume was on mute. I didn't hear. I saw mouths moving. I couldn't hear anything, so I had to correct that. That happens sometimes. But I just want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to give a shout out to John and Amy because they do an excellent job. And it really is very difficult to try to keep up with things as they change from day to day, and new regulations come into place, and we have to abide by those and try to teach on a daily basis what may have changed yesterday. Like Amy said, sometimes you can tell them something at the beginning of the semester, and before the end of the semester, it's already changed. But like he said, we get a lot of support from our administration. They get a lot, I would say most of the things that they need for the program. Well, they get all that they need and a lot of things that they want, I think. Program that make it a nicer piece. So we really, really appreciate Carr's group and Dan's group and other people in administration for all the things that they do. And of course, we can't forget about the advisory committee and all the information that you feed to us to help us to be successful in our adjunct, because we couldn't do it without them. John can teach a lot of classes, but they can't teach them all. So we really appreciate them making the sacrifice and teaching our students. And
I shouldn't say this, but since we're in front of God and everybody, we have asked for another position. So let's put the pressure there on the administration. I didn't say, oh, it's recorded. I forgot.
I just want to say thank you, and John and Amy, we really appreciate all that you do.
Stacy and
Time we'll get to see each other face to face.
Well, we do need to do that soon, because I do want you to see what we've done down here. And of course, there's food when we do that. Again, Aaron, did you ever talk? Are you really there? Aaron, you unmuted, but I can't hear you. Graduate of our program. You know, people assume that we know how to use all these things like Zoom, and you know, we know how to make stuff, but you know.
Well, you know, Aaron's really old now, so he doesn't understand the new technology. See, that's going to force him to talk, because he's married, you know, he just, you know, he's kind of out of it now.
Yeah, it's been a while since he's been here.
Okay, well, he's chatting. He's there because he's chatting with me.
Yeah.
So he must be having a problem with his mic. So.
All right. Well, we're
you know, it's
gonna
because Chip won't. Yeah. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you all for coming, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a great weekend.
Feel free to email us if you have anything to tell us between advisory committees. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.